You can stand on my side. Yes, I will make an introduction of you. Probably create a story. I will. Yeah, come here. Or you can come in, and then we make it a show. Yeah. Your computer is on? Yeah. I will sit there. Okay, guys. Welcome again to this 3 days bootcamp. Open your online store with Shopify. Today, I have the pleasure to introduce you to Suryakant. He will be talking about the challenge of e-commerce in logistics. So let's go to his presentation. So again, I'm honored to have Suryakant with us. He's one of the speakers of this bootcamp. He's currently a student here in this house at Hochschule Bremen International Agrarian Center. He is being served as an urban planner at Borda, South Asia, and he brings a wealth of experience to our event. The story started that I wanted to have somebody to give a talk about supply chain and logistics in e-commerce, and I searched for weeks and I couldn't find anybody that wanted to step up and join us. I read a post of a student from the Supply and Change Management Master Program here that she said, we finished our degree in Supply and Change Management. And as soon as I read that, I contacted her and I asked her if she knew somebody that wanted to talk about supply chain and logistics in e-commerce. Gently, she went to the WhatsApp group that they have and she asked in the group. And 5 minutes later, Surya can answer and he said, I can do that. Yes, so thank you, Suryakan, for your entrepreneurial behavior. And we are very happy to have you here and to learn from you. Come on, please. Yes, this is all yours.
So, good morning, everyone, and thank you for having me, and thank you, Hubert, for giving me the opportunity to present my topic, the challenge of e-commerce in logistics. And also, I will talk about what we learned throughout the course and what are my views after learning about what is logistics and all. And I will give you my insights why I went for the logistics. So, when I was working in BORDA, Bremen Overseas Research and Development Association, which is based in Bremen, and I was working in Leh Ladakh. I think so people from India know, but Leh Ladakh is like one of the toughest region to live. And when you go there, you have all sorts of problems like breathing, living for their long term, and also BORDA is an NGO, and we were working for the sanitation and water supply. And we had a big issue of logistics, like we were not able to deliver particular products like toilet equipments, water pipes, and all those things during the winter. So it was very difficult to procure all those items, and the retailers, they were taking more than 3 months or maybe 4 months to deliver those products. And then I thought of there might be a certain ways to resolve those things. Then I thought of maybe getting a broader idea how I can resolve those things. So then, of course, I went to online, asked a couple of friends, and they, of course, suggested IGC. And then they had an option of logistics and supply chain management. And other courses, they only offered logistics. But yeah, I was happy to learn more about logistics and supply chain management. And today, as you can see, we will be discussing about challenge of e-commerce in logistics. And this is a quite interesting topic, as we seems what are the challenges is very common. But as you go further and know more about it, you realize how important to understand how logistics play a vital role in your day-to-day life. And also, I would like to thank my colleague Pooja and Sandeep. They were also part of making this presentation. So they are not here, but yep, I would like to thank them. And moving on to the next. So today we will talk about the agenda. The first agenda will be, of course, the introduction about the challenge of e-commerce. Then we will talk about what are the importance of the challenges of the e-commerce. Then we will talk about how and what are the strategies for overcoming e-commerce logistics challenges and the case studies of Walmart and Amazon. I think so everyone knows Walmart and Amazon, right? So, and Also, we will talk about what are the future trends, opportunities in e-commerce logistics, of course, the conclusions, and for the reference, if you want, you can look at those references. So, moving on to the introduction. If you talk about, and if I give you about a brief overview of e-commerce is, what is that? It's just like buying and selling of goods and service. That's all. If I want to conclude the whole thing, what is the e-commerce? You just order it, you get it delivered, and if you don't like it, you just return it, right? But there are different models how it works on. The first model you can talk about business to customers, business to business, customers to customers, or maybe customers to business. The customers to business, you can take an example of eBay, or maybe here in Germany, Kleinanzeigen, which is very popular, where you directly buy from the customers. And also, its advantages are it's available 24 into 7. You can wake up at mid of the night, maybe you want to buy something, or you have a dream about something you want to buy, go to online and you can order it, and maybe next day you can get it. And why we talk about the growth of e-commerce and impact on logistics is it's rapidly increasing. Even if you go to South Africa, people are ordering it from India, from Europe, from different countries because now they have the access of internet. And also the globalization of supply chains. As you can see and broaden your knowledge, the globalization has increased a lot where the people are knowing that ordering from US is much more cheaper than ordering it from your local store. So people are expanding their knowledge, trying to find a way how they can work on that. And the higher customer expectation is one of the things they expect you. As me as a customer or you as a customer, you know what you want, what is your quality that needs to be fulfilled. And also the innovation in logistics is a way where the systems get delivered as soon as possible. You know, okay, you have your time is valuable to you, so you need that particular thing at particular time. And why it is very important, and if you talk about the importance of logistics in e-commerce, efficient order and fulfillment and delivery, which Amazon does it very well, and India, you know, Flipkart, and inventory management and warehousing. So inventory management and warehousing is very vital for the e-commerce, where you know about the reverse logistics. We will discuss about that later. And they have to manage the inventory as per as the seasons too. Like during the festivals, they should know what is the product demand going to be. And reverse logistic and reverse management is the things that you return. It's not that easy for a logistic provider to return those products directly to the warehouse. So they have a certain methods and how they deal with that. And what are the essentials, customer satisfaction and loyalty, how those online presence retain their customers and how and what they do. And I think so, no, so many, have you seen on Instagram ads, like there are so many new products coming on and they're selling it, they're shipping it and saying out free return, right? Those are the taglines they use: free return, free delivery, no questions asked. So that's how they get you attracted to those things. So moving on to next, what are the major challenges of e-commerce? So when we were doing the research, so we found like lots of challenges, but the most important challenges were the 7 challenges that we focused on. And the first one was poor transport infrastructure. If you go to a developing country, the most challenge they face is poor transport infrastructure. And also now this challenge is also is being in Germany or maybe in the developed country too. If you have that people are there are less people who wants to be a truck driver. They don't want to work in that particular sector. So that is also one of challenge, and lack of investment for infrastructure. Now the government doesn't want to invest on those infrastructure, so they are much more towards expanding the knowledge. And if you know at bottlenecks at ports and road networks, and I think so all of you have heard about the Suez Canal incident, right? Where the whole industry got uh, stopped for a week and people were having so much trouble getting their products, and the shipment industry has to go through all the way around from Africa, and everything was a disaster. But they are working on that, how they can improve and how they can manage it. And also if you look at the congested metropolitan and other major urban cities in current scenario, how the growth of rapid development of the cities, which is also a major issues for the transport system, where how they can deliver new houses, new addresses. They have to develop their inventory as per as the new development. And also the inventory management is one of the major issues, because maybe at one time the one product is available for the 10 quantity, and no one's know when that product can be hit, and everyone start ordering that product, and the Amazon or maybe any other, the third party has to fulfill those things, and they have to keep in that mind how they can fulfill it. So that is one of the issue. So they have to optimize the stock level as that they can sell it, and also they should have a backup just in case their order overflow, how they can fulfill it. And they also have to demand forecasting. Now we have an AI and other systems that where they can demand the forecast, but still AI is almost, I would say, 85% success in that, but still 15% is much more dangerous to them. And also, if you look at the lack of warehouse spaces, and in that, of course, location optimization, that is not easy to find. You cannot have your warehouse at every locations, like because people are ordering from the village, you cannot have a warehouse for a certain 100 people, right? So they have to optimize their location in a way so that they can cover most of the area. And also, if you look at effective distribution and other order fulfillment system, in this, they have a way how they should deliver. Like 10 people are sitting in the same place, they have a order way, like where the truck will go and how it will go, so that it covers the same route within a certain amount of time. Instead of taking 2 days, it can be done within hours. And also, inefficient last mile delivery. This is the most important part of the e-commerce logistics. Your product gets from one place to another, but the last mile delivery, like you have seen the Amazon small buses which is going around, and it's electric, and that is the major cost of e-commerce logistics. Getting, if you order it, your product gets from one place to another place, from by airlines or by train or by maybe a truck. That's the easiest way to get the product. But the major issues comes from the last mile, getting a truck, maybe a small truck or maybe a small van, getting that product and delivering it to a different places. So those things plays a vital role, and last mile delivery produce the most of the CO2 in logistic management. And also, if you look at they have the substantial delivery costs and unregulated fleet expansion. Like in the recent case, Amazon has a case, I think so it's in India, where they had a big argument where for the parking space, where you see there were accidents happening, they were just parking their uh, van on the curb, which disturb the whole flow of traffic. So they have to come in a way where they are allowed to deliver the products within certain amount of time. You can see there's a board written like from morning 8 to maybe till the evening till 6. So at that particular time they have to deliver it. After that, if the police or maybe someone says, they can call the authority and they have to pay a fine. So they have to be very conscious about the last mile delivery thing. And the reverse logistic is the main aspect of your order. Like when you don't like a product, you of course return it back. So that part is called the reverse logistic. And those product has to go back to the retailer or the shipper that who shipped the product. So they have to know how to get that product back, and that also costs a lot of money for the retailer, and they have to spend the same amount of the money that they spend on. And sometimes they also say you keep the product instead of sending it to us. Why? Because they want to save money. They don't want to, like the product costs maybe 10 euros, instead of sending it back costing another 5 euros to them, they will say keep it, and people are happy about that too. And technology implementation is like now, technology implementation is working on the things that they're improving it, but still the human presence in the logistic is very vital. Right now, like investment related to technology implementation, resistance to change and training, cyber attacks and frauds, which are very common. Like in India, cyber frauds are like very common. They will send you fake link, or you order it online and you get maybe fake product, or maybe you don't even get a product, you just get a box. Instead of iPhone, you get a piece of uh, soap. Yes, exactly. So that's a funny part, and there are lots of video on that. If you go on YouTube, you will find that. So those are things we should be aware of, and you should be very careful when you click a link online and what you have to buy. And the regulatory challenge is the biggest challenge for the smaller companies to come out or to follow those things. Like Amazon and Walmart, they are like very big player, and it's very easy to follow those regulatory compliance, and they have that kind of human capacity to follow those things. But for the smaller companies like your startup, you are going to do startup. The major flow of the startup would be a logistic problem. How you are going to manage the customer, how you are going to follow your regulatory compliance, and how you have to deal with the local authorities. There are so many rules and regulations that you have to follow. And now they are much more conscious about, I would say, sustainability and the environment factor, and that are much more stricter. And now moving on to the third part, and what are the strategies we use to overcome logistics challenges? And like I will just give you the over brief on this. And the first one is invest in logistics. Of course, if you put your investment, you always expect a return. And how you put it, like you own or lease a vehicle, which is much more easy. If you own a vehicle, then you have to look after the fuel cost, the maintenance, and all those things. But if you lease a vehicle, you have to just look at the upfront cost, how much you have to pay for per hour. You don't have to keep the vehicle at your storage and for a longer time. An advanced inventory management system is very important right now. If someone is ordering it right now from online, from anywhere, the order goes directly to the warehouse, and the warehouse people look for the product. Okay, that order has been, and they have a 15-minute duration. Okay, if he or she has an option to cancel that order, and if he or she doesn't cancel the order, then they process the order to the next part. And like for example, H&M. H&M is like one of the biggest industry in the fashion industry. They are for the fast fashion. They are very good at logistic management, and how they do it, they deliver it very fast. And Bangladesh, they do it all from Bangladesh, and they are having a very high success rate in that. And warehouse automation. And recently we went to a trip to different locations where we saw how automation works. They have a huge spaces where they have different items left. The robot was doing all the work. There was no human interaction in that, and that was like one of the biggest threat as a logistic, I would say, to us, to know like how it can overtake us. But still, like not all the companies are doing, because it costs a lot, and after cost, you have to look about the maintenance. You have to have a specific engineer. So now that is also an important thing. And if you go to forming a local partnership for regulatory compliance, so maybe you know about the Walmart case, right? Walmart was in Germany, but it failed. It was they followed all the guidelines and everything, but the reason they failed is because they did not understand the German market. They were very strict about the policies, like you have to say Walmart, Walmart, Walmart 3 times every day when you come to the stores. You are forced to smile to a customer when you are checking it out. So those were like Germans were like, no, we don't like that. So they were like, they rejected that, and people started uh, going for a protest. Even local Germans are very, towards their local supportive. They have a cumulative group of people. They support the local market instead of going to a big market. So that's why it was very hard for Walmart to survive in German market. And of course, the implementation and AI, blockchain, and augmented reality. Blockchain they use not only for the money, but also to transfer the information, which is also safer than just selling it online. So you have different method. If you know about the coin H bar, if you look it online, Facebook, Amazon, all the big market uses the H bar, and the cost of it is right now 0.4 cent, but the value of H bar is really big. And if you look about the improved product quality and description, like Zalando is very popular in European market. So they are trying to improve the quality and how they can describe a product that you want to buy. Like when you read something, you want to have that particular thing. And of course, advanced return management system, as I talked about, the reverse logistic of the system. When you want to return it, how fast they can take your order back and how fast they can replace that order. So those things, they're working on that too. And moving on to the next, we have a case study. I will just go briefly about the case study about Amazon and Walmart and how they are different from each other. So Amazon uses an advanced forecasting algorithm. Like Amazon is very big. They are in 180 countries, as Walmart is only in around maybe 30 countries. So Amazon has a system, and they know you better than you know yourself what you're going to order next. So they have that system, and they know what you're going to order next. If you buy a product, they always gives you different other things, right? You can buy it. If you're ordering a phone, they will give you an option for a case, for a screen guard, or maybe for an AirPods or whatever thing that goes with that product. So they are very clever on that. But for Walmart, they use the cross docking, which is basically the procedure where the supplier or manufacturer directly deliver the product to the customer instead of having a big warehouse and all those things. That is also done by the Amazon, but like cross-checking for Walmart is much more easier. And Walmart is of course the biggest in US and the second biggest I would say in Mexico and then Canada. And Walmart is much more of a subsidiary. They not a subsidiary, like they buy small companies and they let them keep their name, but they are the owner. Like in India, they recently acquired Flipkart, but they did not change the Flipkart to Walmart. People will get offended by that. Why? But still, people think Flipkart is an Indian company, but no, it's not right now. And also they have a real-time inventory management. You can track your orders in Amazon, but in Walmart they also have a real-time inventory management, but they works on RFID system. Like if the product passes through their certain area, they have an RFID code which reads the product and notify the customer, okay, the product is there or not. And moving on to the warehouse automation, and in this I would say Amazon is really high, and they have a better system than Walmart. So they know they have a multi-tier inventory system. They know what customer is going to order, and they have all the data of customer from different countries of different seasons of a different festivals what they are going to order. Like in India, they have a Diwali. They know the lights will be much in demand, so they have all the stocks ready for that. But during Diwali, they won't sell the colors like the holy color, right? So they know what people are going to order, and they also have the expansion of fulfillment network. They have a different locations, different places where they know what they are going to order, from what place the more demand comes. Even if you go to, like, the reason I'm taking the example of India is it's a very diverse country. If you go to the north, Diwali's festival is the biggest. If you go to the south, Onam in the Kerala and different. And if you go to the northeast, Bihu like Assam is very popular. So they know from which part of the area the order will be there, so they know how to manage those things. Also in Walmart, you can see they have a micro fulfillment centers, which is difficult to manage. Sometimes they cannot run it through the human resource. Sometimes they don't have capacity to run those things. Also, they are dependent on the third-party sellers, and third-party sellers are also dependent on Walmart's orders. If they don't get efficient amount of orders, they always go for a closed shop. And recently, in the Airbus, what was the biggest problem for them after the COVID? Small Airbus highly dependent on the third party. They are not dependent on themselves because everything they do is they outsource to the third party, and the third party which make a small screw, they closed their shop and they did not have any money, and now they had such a big problem to produce that screw, even though they can do it all by themselves, but they were not able to do it. Why? The reason is because they have to get the approval, and it takes around 2 to 3 years from the government that you can use that small screw. So those things are also very important when you look at the third party sellers. And of course, leveraging stores and footprints. This is one of the biggest issue for the Walmart is they are always depending on the stores, and those stores also consumes a lots of space, and they have a after cost. They have to maintain the stores. They have to find employee working, and you don't want to work in a village for like if you're living in a city, right? And the pay is also not good. You have to find a proper location. You have a social life. So those things are also very important when you talk about the warehouse. And if you talk about the last mile delivery optimization, so Amazon has their own truck fleet, how they deliver it. But for the Walmart, they have a different partnership with they depend on. In Germany, you can say DHL or maybe different DTDC or different delivery partners they depend on. But Amazon, they don't need to depend on different partners because they have their own fleet. And they know if you're a prime customer, they will, of course, they use their own fleet because you're the important customer to them. And also, if you heard about drone delivery, which is, I would say, not a good thing to do, but yeah, they are working on that, and it's not allowed in each country doing it. Okay, maybe in US they are allowing it at certain places, but in Germany, I don't think so. People will allow a drone passing to their home, delivering it to the location. No, and it's also about the privacy issue because people are very much aware about it. And also extensive delivery and fulfillment network. Of course, they have a very high network of localization. They know where to deliver, when not to deliver. They have all the routes mapped out. If you are working in the warehouse, they know if a product comes to a certain location, the order comes from a certain location, and as soon as it gets into the system, they know how fast they can deliver to that location. And as I said, Walmart is dependent on the partnership. delivery partnership, and they also have a Spark delivery, which is not everywhere. It is in the certain part of those area, and which is also limited. And also they have a curbside and in-store pickup, which of course you don't like. If you're at home, you don't want to go to store and pick up your product. You don't want to walk 500 meters to get your product, and that's much more irritating, right? And also, if you talk about the last point, Walmart has a delivery network and partnership with flight trucks and Japan. Here, also, they are also depending on the third party, which can be bought by another third party, like maybe Amazon can buy those things, and they say, okay, get lost. Now I own those things. So those are also a risk factor for Walmart. That's why they are only in 30 countries, and Amazon is like in 180 countries, and they control 13% of the whole world for the e-commerce. And if you talk about the reverse logistics, easy return and process, they have, you don't have to, you just have to put an order. Maybe within 2 hours or maybe 4 hours, they will come and take your order. And for Walmart, it's much more complicated than the Amazon. But Walmart is much popular in US because people tend to use their car. They are more out, and there are more store outlets. Like if you're going for shopping for different products, you take your return product and just drop it that out. But Amazon being at different places at much more location, you just have to place it from your phone. They will come and collect your order. And also they have Amazon return centers and liquidization program is like, if you want to talk to the customer care, you can do it online, and it's very easy that they have a Amazon centers return. Like you have seen in Germany that they have a small centers, the boxes are there. They will send you, okay, you go there, you put a code, and you can put the product, and they will come and collect it. And they are also in partner with DHL, so they know like which product is going to be returned, and they have every information on that. And so for Walmart, of course, they are using much more human power, like human customer service and return kiosks, and they also have a carrier pickup by FedEx, which is also a third party, and it causes much more difficulty for them. They have to be much more dependent on the third party than they are depending on themselves. But Amazon, from time to time, building their own company, they started to know how they can save their money in their logistics. So moving on the technology implementation, of course, they both are using in-house technology, but Walmart is much more dependent on the blockchain. They also have a different data analytics, and they also invest in real-time data. But in this, Amazon has much more higher. They know the machine learning, they know the people, they know their address, they know everything once you try to order anything. And if you look at the regulatory challenge, Amazon has the higher upper hand. Like Walmart was not success in Germany, but still Amazon is there, and Amazon has higher reach of network, and they know how to work in the different sectors and different market, and they also know how to analyze that market. And Amazon was very successful in India, of course. Like they have a huge amount of money coming from India, and also its success in different part of, like in Africa, they are going to launch their own product, where Walmart is failing again in Africa. So now they are afraid of, if Amazon enter in Africa, they will fail again. And if you move to the future trends and opportunity of e-commerce, of course, drone and autonomous vehicle deliveries, which maybe like automatic driving vehicle, you don't need, less human will be involved, and of course that will be a threat to us as a logistics supplier. So there will be less people working in the same sector. And so if you talk about the sustainability, yes, the sustainability is one of the major issues in the logistics, because that produces huge amount of CO2, and they have to look different products how they can manage those sustain. And artificial intelligence like ChatGPT and all those things, how they are coding it and how they are making it much more efficient, how they know the way what customer needs, and that data is still being used by different companies. And of course, same day delivery, which is one of the most important part of online delivery. And augmented reality is part of, like, where a person from China is sitting there and regulating everything from all over the world. And of course, the personalization and customer centric approach, which is what you want and what you want in the future. They know everything about you. And the main reason the startup fails is because they are very poor at logistic management. They don't know how to manage their logistics, because they have to depend on the third party. And for the like DHL and all those things, it costs a loss. It costs really a lot amount of money to spend. Like always, they say minimum order of 50 euros or $50, so that they knew the minimum cost they will get in return of that product. And if you go to Amazon, you will find the same product at a cheaper price. So that's why there's a major threat for sellers. That's why Shopify have their own delivery system, so they don't ask you to like go and delivery. Like they have a different area of delivery, so they know how you can be safer in that term. So they are very competitive to Amazon and different sector, and they are trying to promote local markets. And if you know Etsy, Etsy is also one of the very popular e-commerce platform where they're promoting local markets so that they don't disappear. And also Amazon being an e-commerce giant, they are also threat to a local players where they are killing it. So that is why we have to focus on how we can improve. So if I will take look at the conclusion as what we discussed, is like for the significant growth, we have to, of course, we have a huge demand. We have the inventory challenges. That is like one of the major issues. How they will manage their inventory warehouse, how they can get the product from one place to another, and they have to fulfill all the demands. And reverse logistics, last mile delivery play a vital role, and that is the major contribution towards the CO2 or maybe the sustainability. So how they can reduce that. And last year, someone did the thesis on last mile delivery. When I was going through that, then I came to know why and how important that is, just to deliver a product from a DHL office to your house, how complicated that is. And of course, we need a technological integration and sustainability to improve the whole logistic as a system. And that's the conclusion. And if you have to look at the references, these are the references we use. Of course, we use Amazon, KPMG. They did the research on how it's going to improve, and Walmart, of course. And thank you for your time.
Do you have any question?
Um,
Yeah, please.
So, like the experience for a brand like Amazon is almost the same across the world. Like for me, the experience in India with Amazon and in Germany is almost the same, with the exception of the packet shops,
Yes.
of course. So, in terms of logistics, does it happen with regulations in different countries that some exceptions are made for brands, especially like Amazon, who are going to invest a lot in the country and going to increase the economic value of the country itself? So exceptions or some loopholes or something with the government, or especially in terms of regulations with different countries.
So in terms of Germany and India, it's like if you compare, of course, India is a developing country where you know how regulatory works. They have a loopholes in everything, and Amazon are very good at finding the loopholes. And if you compare it to Germany, they have to pay very higher amount of taxes on that, and it's very hard. And if you look at the Germany data, when I was going through the Amazon website, or they have the annual report, it's still not in a profit, but still they are operating it, hoping that it might increase. Maybe the government will give them some benefits in terms of tax, but no. And they also, like in Germany, people won't order for Amazon. They go for Auto, Auto and different Zalando. They trust because that is the German company. Of course, you want to promote German. The Germans are much more addicted towards their own brand instead of going for the third party. So that is one of the major issues, and it depends on where you're working, like country to country, how the cultural differences, how the people react to the certain products. That's why Walmart was not successful in Germany because they were not allowing people to have a intimacy relationship within the store. Like you cannot have a relationship with any person who you are working with, and that was against the law of the German. You can talk to anyone, you can have a relationship with anyone. So those factors really played a vital role. So that's how they have to understand the market. That's how they can get more out of it. So,
Thank you very much. Any other question? No, I have a question.
yes.
What would be your recommendation for somebody that is starting up a business and when they start, especially product, businesses? What would be your recommendation in terms of logistics and supply chain?
So if you're going, like as I talked about, like if you're going to start your own business or maybe doing anything, always first look for the third party, like a Shopify or maybe Etsy, so that you don't have to be paying high amount of cost for your uh, product delivery. So they have that certain rates that they tell you to cover those rates, how much you are paying from. If you are shipping from India to Germany, there maybe the cost would be about 50 euros. So they say to include those costs within the product. So that's how you save it. And once you start growing, people are start ordering, then you have your own sector of logistics. Like you can partner with DHL. In DHL, they have a sector called small businesses, where you have a 1 term or maybe 3 years deal, where you talk to them, okay, this much products I'm going to use your platform to deliver those things, and they give you a system there where you can utilize that, and that's how you can improve and get to the next level. But depending on how much customers and how much people are ordering it from you. If it's not a success, then of course you have to bear the cost. Then that's how you have to utilize. You have to promote. People should be aware about your product. So that's all. So that's why they use Instagram and Facebook ads to know.
Thank you very much, Suryakant, for your speech here in our bootcamp, a 3-day bootcamp to open a e-commerce store using Shopify. And thank you very much for the time. And
Thank you for having me. It was really nice. Thank you.
bye.